My name is Ronnie Cruz, and this is Path of the Network Marketer.
All right, welcome back to the show. Thanks for tuning in. Today, we're going to talk about teaching. That's right, teaching, and how it can help you gain a deeper understanding of the thing that you're growing into, right? If you're working on something, if you're working on a new goal, I definitely encourage you to continue to work at it until you get to a point, well, not until, but always work at it. And you'll eventually hit a point where you'll gain a level of proficiency, right? You'll gain a level of comfort with that particular thing that you're growing into. For example, and this is why this is on my mind, because if you're listening to this episode, it is day 2 of my very first masterclass, the Influencer Masterclass. And so, I've really been in this headspace of, have I been doing this thing long enough? Have I been not only studying content creation and online marketing long enough, but have I been doing it long enough, right? Have I been developing my own proficiency and my own skill set in the thing to be able to actually teach it and call it a masterclass? And I say, obviously I'm doing it, so I must. There must be some part of me that says that thinks that I can teach it. One of the things that I've learned, though, through the course of the last 12 months, as I've, really deep dove. I don't know. I'm not sure which is the correct one, but you guys know what I mean. As I took a deep dive into content creation and online marketing over the last 12 months, one of the things that I've done in tandem with learning is sharing with you what I've learned in real time, so that that in a way is teaching, right? It's sharing my experience in the form of it's backwards. It's teaching in the form of sharing my experience with you. And so in sharing my experience with you, it's actually allowed me to gain a deeper understanding, because I have to kind of step up and level up in my ability to communicate these concepts and ideas to you in a clear way. So it's really actually helped me accelerate the learning process, while also helping me establish an authority, establish an expertise and authority in the space. Now, that said, I really want you to be careful and balance that, temper that, because a lot of times what can happen is, again, because of the internet, because of our access to information, we can very quickly go from zero to expert in 3 seconds, right? I know a lot of people that are armchair experts, and I get it, right? Again, if we have access to the information, then we must know about it, right? And that's how we've been programmed to learn. Through our education system, well, at least here in the U.S., just knowing things is the expertise, and that's where the saying comes from, right? Those that can do, and those that can't teach, right? I've always loved that saying. I don't use it a lot because it is definitely a level of snark to it, and it's a little bit judgy, but there's some truth to it, right? Especially in the modern context of the digital age, where, again, the information is at our fingertips, and we can all feel like we're experts, and then automatically, without having done the thing that we're talking about, go straight to teaching. You can learn and teach as you go, as long as you're doing the thing that you're teaching, as opposed to just learning about it and then teaching, right? Yes, teaching, I encourage you to eventually do, because it will give you a deeper understanding. It forces you to kind of examine and really dissect and deep dive into the topics and the subject matter that you're learning about. But be careful not to step into that expert space unless you're actually walking the walk, right? Like that's another saying, right? Walk the walk. If you're going to talk the talk, walk the walk, right? I'm able to, I feel comfortable with myself to teach this masterclass on being an influencer and content creation, because I've been not just studying it for the last 12 months very intensively, but I've been doing it also very intensively for the last 12 months. In fact, I've ratcheted it up over the last 12 months, right? As I've gone along, I've increased and accelerated my level of output and engagement in the things that I'm learning how to do with content creation. I mean, at this point, one podcast episode a day, one live video every day on Facebook, one reels or short form every day on all the platforms, one video on YouTube every day, right? So there's tremendous amount of content happening, and then that's on top of the digital course masterclass that I'm teaching, which will lead into a paid course later on in the spring, which will lead to a book later on in the spring. So I'm not just teaching this stuff. I'm not just talking about it because I read about it on the internet and I heard about it on a podcast. I'm actually doing this stuff. Teaching it has also allowed me to actually to deepen my understanding of these principles, and not only gives me a confidence to teach it and share it with you in the classes that I'm creating, but it also gives me even more confidence in the actual doing, right, in the actual principles that I'm teaching, because I'm gaining a deeper understanding, and therefore that's actually accelerated my proficiency in the thing. So teaching definitely helps. Teaching definitely helps you grow into a space. Just be mindful not to go from zero to teaching in 3 seconds, because you just end up an armchair expert. You really do. You really do. So, and you know what? Like, I'm guilty of that. That's why like I don't mean to judge. If you look at my early videos on YouTube, I'm totally trying to teach you network marketing and teach the audience network marketing, but I wasn't seeing any results at all. Like, I was very, very early in my career, and it was I was just a disaster in motion. That was over time, just refining and honing my skills and my abilities. And then once I finally got to a place where my career was gaining a massive momentum, I actually, as my team started to grow, the necessity arose for me to actually teach, because I had to provide education to my organization, and so that was more of an ideal scenario for teaching, because I had built momentum in my organization, so helping my teams develop that momentum in their businesses, I allowed me to just kind of deep dive into the principles that I use to build my business, and therefore helped me gain a really better understanding of it. Anyways, you guys, I think, know what I'm talking about. Teaching helps. Teaching helps. Be careful not to step into that teacher role too soon, because you'll otherwise just be an armchair expert. So when you're ready to move into teaching, you can teach, and it will really, really help you get a deeper understanding of the things that you're learning as well. So that's my message for today. Again, for those of you who haven't registered for the Influencer Masterclass, number one, it's free. There's no reason for you not to register. And number two, even though it's it's day 2 as of this the release of this episode, it's not too late. There's one more day. Right, day 3 it's a 3-day masterclass. But if you register, you also gain access to the replay, which is going to be available until March 4th. So you'll be able to listen to the entire masterclass up until March 4th, only if you register. It's ronniecruz.com/masterclass. I'll leave a link in the show notes of this episode. So until then, I guess no, not until then. I have to say more from me tomorrow. So until then, be well, be safe. We'll see you in the next episode.